Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kelsey. Thank you so much for joining me today, and welcome to day 9 of Vlogmas. We got a tree today, by the way. It's like almost 6 feet tall, and this is definitely the biggest Christmas tree we've ever had. We've always gotten like little small ones to put like on top of our coffee table or something, but we just weren't finding any that were like kind of smaller this year, and I saw this one and I really liked it. It's kind of like a bluish green color. It's just really cool, and didn't really think about like, hey, what are we gonna put on this, or like how are we gonna put this in our house? So brought it home, found our tree holder. What are those called? Tree things? Stump holders? Christmas tree holders? I don't know. Found that in the garage. It worked. We're set there. It's kind of like just in the middle of our like living area downstairs right now because it can't go on our coffee table because it is too big. Also, we have one thing of lights and it's about 6 feet long. So I guess I could put it at the top and it could go all the way to the floor, but right now I kind of have it like zigzagging just in one spot. So I am happy it is getting festive around here. I started putting some decor up, and with the Christmas tree, you get the Christmas tree smell and it's nice. So more of that will be coming soon, but today I wanted to share with you a little bit of a DIY. So I actually did start putting this together already, but this is like a little wreath that I've been working on. I've been making these pom-poms for like the last week because pom-poms take forever to make. But I thought I would assemble it and kind of show you how it turns out. I think I have enough pom-poms. I need to make a few more of this pink color, so I was gonna show you how I make them, but it's a super simple process. But I do wanna cover this entire thing with all kinds of pom-poms, and I'm probably gonna like adjust these so that they're like more smushed together, but I have a ton of pom-poms. I'm gonna show you how I make them, but first I'm gonna kind of show you different yarns that I'm using for this and like some tips that I've noticed with making the pom-poms with the different kinds of yarns. The first yarn I've been using is this really fun yarn. It's from Loops and Threads, which is like a Michaels brand. It's called the Cozy Wool yarn. I feel like they changed the name on this like this year. I think I got this last year and just didn't end up using it for anything. But it's like this really thick yarn that has a really fun texture to it. So when you make a pom-pom out of it, it looks like this. And so it's just like a really nice full looking pom-pom. So I really enjoy this, but it definitely has like a lot of texture to it, some shine, but really fun. And then you can also use like a yarn like this. I used a few different colors like this. This is the Vanna's Choice yarn from Lion brand. This is just like your basic medium acrylic type of yarn. And this is going to make pom-poms. I don't have one on hand with that exact yarn, but this is really similar. It's gonna make a pom-pom that's just kind of simple, looks like this. This one needs a little bit of evening out, but it's just like your basic pom-pom. It does a good job. It's nice. It starts to like fray a little bit, but that's kind of nice. Like that's a look I'm going for. So that's a classic, easy, cheap yarn to use. Then I have like one like really specialty kind of yarn. I actually don't have any of it left. I made a few pom-poms with it. This is actually from like a blended yarn. It was a Bernat brand. It was like a mix, a home mix yarn, and there was like 4 different kinds of yarn inside of one like skein. And so this one was like this funky, like weird texture. The yarn looked like this, like there was like little like bubbles in it almost. But it made a kind of fun pom-pom. It's actually not my favorite looking pom-pom, but different. It adds a little bit of a different texture. But one of my favorites to use, and I don't have much of it left because I only had a little bit left anyways, and so I was just finishing it off from a project. But this is the, I think it's the Lion brand like Scarfy yarn, but it's kind of like a variated color. It changes from like a light gray to like a black. And so these are some of my favorite pom-poms. This is actually where it's like really light gray colored, but then you can see like the inside of the yarn is actually like black, and so it just makes this really interesting looking pom-pom. So I've got anywhere from this to actually just a fully, pretty much just black pom-pom from the same thing of yarn. And then you have stuff that's just kind of like in between, like this one's a little bit more gray, but just really cool texture, really fun color. And so this was one of my favorites to do with the pom-poms. I'm using 2 different pink yarns, but they're both just kind of like your average yarn. This one's a little bit more like blush toned, and it is, I think I want to say this was like a wool blend of some kind, but it's still like a medium weight yarn, pretty simple. This one is actually an alpaca yarn. This is the Lion brand Touch of Alpaca, and this one's a little bit more like rosy pink as opposed to like blush pink. But this one's really fun too. Again, just kind of like your average kind of yarn. But I wanted to show you how I make the pom-poms because it really is such a simple process. So I do need to make a few more of this like pink color. To make the pom-poms, I prefer to use a pom-pom maker. So they're these funky little contraptions. They're like these little rings that come apart multiple ways. So it comes apart in 2 pieces, but then each side also, it like turns. Then you have these little like arms that come off from both sides, and you wrap the yarn around each arm. And then you can see you have like this slit in the middle in between the 2, and you cut in between once it's closed to make the pom-pom. So I'll show you how to do this. You can make a pom-pom without these, and I have done it in the past. It's a pain. It takes way too long. I got a few of these last year, and it was like game changer for me. Last year I ended up doing a ton of pom-poms on like Christmas gifts as like little decor, like when wrapping, and it was so fun. But you can get these in all different sizes. The ones I'm using for this wreath are this green one, which says 65 on it. I don't know if that's like necessarily a size on it or something. And this one says 45. I do have 2 other sizes in this. I have one that's a little bit smaller than this guy, and then one that's a little bit bigger than this one. But because the wreath I'm making is kind of smaller, I kind of wanted to stick with something that was like medium to small size, but not like tiny, because I didn't want to make like 100 pom-poms, but I also didn't want just like 6 pom-poms around the whole thing. So I stuck with these 2 sizes, and so far what I've put on the wreath, I do really enjoy the different sizes on this. It adds some interest and just some fun. It looks a little bit more organic, I guess you could say. But let's jump into making some pom-poms. So with the 2 pieces together, the 2 sides together, I'm gonna lift 2 of the arms. And starting with the side that's towards the middle of the little contraption, I'm gonna take the end of the yarn and kind of just stick it here at the bottom. It's not gonna stick to anything, but I'm gonna put my thumb right here to hold it in place. And then I'm just gonna start wrapping this around the little arm here. Something I have learned is you don't wanna over wrap the yarn on here, but you also don't wanna like just do like a little bit on here. You kind of want to get enough to where there's some yarn packed on here, but also not too much. I don't know. It's hard to explain. You'll kind of get a feel for it, but I've done both too much and too little, and it just doesn't turn out right. The too much, you get like a bunch of variation in the length of the yarn on your pom-pom. So then if you're like particular about it, you have to cut it down a lot. But then if you don't have enough on here, it just doesn't look full, and it kind of looks a little lackluster. So now that I have this side ready to go, I'm going to fold it back into the middle and then take that other side out and just from one side go straight across to the other and just wrap it until it matches the other side. So then once I'm at the end of that, I'm gonna just fold this back over. I've got some little like embroidery scissors that I use for this, and then I'm just gonna cut off the extra yarn, just kind of right at the base of the little pom-pom maker. And then now I'm gonna take the little scissors and cut right through here where you can see like the 2 pieces are separated, and just cut right through all the way around. Now this feels kind of strange cutting backwards, but You get the idea. Don't be worried about it coming apart. I don't understand why it doesn't, but it doesn't. Now that you've cut all the way around, you're gonna need another piece of yarn. I take about a foot length. Since I'm gonna be tying these around the wreath, I want a little bit of extra working space. And then you're gonna take the yarn and put it through the two pieces here and pull it around, and then you're gonna tie it once and pull it as tight as you can. Don't tie it off again, just leave it at one knot. And then we're gonna lift up both sides of these arms and then pull the two pieces apart. And now you've got something that looks kind of like a pom-pom. I'm gonna tie this down again, really tight, just pull the two sides together and then tie it for a second time. And then there's your pom-pom. So at this point you can kind of go in and like fluff it a little bit, give it a little life. If you notice any like really long pieces, you could go in and trim those. But that's it. It's so simple. And I love these pom-pom makers. Highly recommended. I have bought all of mine at Hobby Lobby. I have seen them at Michael's. I'm sure actually, I think I got one set at Joann's and one set at Hobby Lobby, and I've seen them at Michael's. So any craft store, I'm sure, has these. So I'm gonna make, I think, just one more of these, and we'll start assembling our wreath. So I've got my wreath and hopefully the rest of my pom-poms here. I don't necessarily want to make any more. I will if I have to, but I'm hoping this will be enough. So I'm just gonna kind of strategically place these around my wreath. So like I've got a little bit of space over here on the side. So I think I might take like a darker little pom-pom and put it over here. I'm not like super worried about everything looking perfect. Like I said earlier, I kind of want it all to kind of come together a little bit organically, not look too put together. But so I'm just tying these around. I'm gonna just do like a little, you're tying your shoes kind of bow, just cause I'm looking for easy. I don't want it something that's gonna be on here like super permanently. Not that I'm looking to change it, but it just seems easier. So I'm going to just kind of place these around, and we'll hopefully get this done pretty soon. It's so adorable. A few things. Once I started to put it together, I realized I didn't want both the like blush color and the more like pink color. They kind of like clash in a way, and so I thought it would be kind of nice to just do the gray tones with just one pop of color instead of like the two pinks. So I ended up not using those pinks, which I had only made 3, so that's fine. But I ended up using 26 pom-poms, kind of less than I thought I would. I have about 8 left over, so not a ton. Overall, I think this project took me about 2 hours to make. Like if I were to sit down and just like put on a TV show and make this without like doing a video, it would probably take about 2 hours. You've got the pom-poms to make, and then just the process of like putting it together took a little bit of time. Now, once it was together, I did finish it off slightly. So I just took my little tiny scissors and trimmed up some of the little pom-poms that were like a little furry, or like ones that had like really long little pieces of yarn. So I just took it in and kind of clipped those ones. But that literally took like 30 seconds. If I did want to hang this, you could kind of go about that like a multitude of ways. One, you could use like a wreath hanger, and that would work, I guess. I think if I were to hang it, I would just take a few strands of yarn. The animals are going crazy. I need to feed them dinner. If I were to hang this, I think I would just take like a few strands of yarn and like a gray tone, obviously, and then just wrap it around and kind of like go in between the pom-poms and then just hang it like that. But I think, I don't know where I'm gonna put this quite yet. I might hang it, but I might just leave it like on a counter or something. It looks so cute. I love it so, so much. This turned out even cuter than I thought it was going to. I love the like difference in texture and like depth. It just is so interesting and not like overly Christmassy either, which is my favorite kind of Christmas decorations. And so I love this. I think it turned out absolutely adorable. I hope you enjoyed it. If you give this a shot, please let me know, or like if you've made something similar to this, I would love to hear about it. I think this is really fun. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe down below if you haven't already. I would love to have you around. And until next time, bye guys.